It should be good. What's the weather like where you are?
It's been quite nice. It's been really sunny.
Yeah. It's got lighter, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's feeling a little bit more like spring is on the way, which is good.
I know. Makes a big difference, doesn't it? I know for certain. I take my post at 4:30 to the post office. And when I take it now, it's now light.
Nice.
So it's a really good way of seeing the difference between the two, really.
Yeah.
It makes a difference. All being well, it says we're live on there.
Yeah.
Which is good. So it's wonderful to touch base with you, Alison. The really interesting thing was it was about a week and a half ago when I last spoke to you, and then you were going to come live onto my Facebook page last week, but we had to change it. And am I all right to say why?
Yeah, sure.
Well, wait for this, everybody. It's quite a shocker. Alison got COVID, and it was like, what a thing to get a text message off somebody saying, Esther, I can't do tomorrow or next Friday or whenever it was. I've got COVID. And I'm like, my God, how do you reply to that? How have you been?
Awful. It's been horrible. Yeah.
Really?
So I've got a bit of brain fog at the moment. My brain's kind of just getting back to its normal self. So yeah, I will try my best to keep focused today, but I have been really affected by it and had the ambulance out at one point. It got that bad.
For you?
Yeah. Yeah, because I couldn't breathe. Yeah.
Do you think there's a bit of anxiety as well? Does it all kind of become very...
Yeah, I ended up having a bit of a panic attack with it because I didn't know what was happening, and I thought it was my breathing, but actually it was probably more me panicking, and my temperature was 39.4. So.
You're making me go. So have you from having COVID, have you got any magical kind of tricks or solutions or thought processes, as you obviously with all your counselling skills? What would you do with something like that?
Every day I've been saying to myself, this will pass. It won't always be like this, because I think when you're really stuck in that mindset, which was I felt quite low at some points, it feels like it's going to be like that forever. But I just have to keep saying to myself, reassuring myself, this will pass. It will get better. It will change.
Well, I mean, I just wrote up something here. It's nothing to do with what we were going to talk about, but actually I've just got it in front of me, and I wrote a little thing about Sir Captain Tom Moore. And one of the things that I wrote about was the fact that his words were so powerful for somebody that I never knew, who influenced my life. And last night when I went out clapping, it was really dark, and I actually was clapping and I felt tears running down my cheek. And it was like somebody I've never known, and how they've influenced me. And I put myself a little note here about, great people like Dame Vera Lynn, We'll Meet Again, and Sir Captain Tom Moore. Basically his first words with the lockdown when we first got it was, what can I do to help? And his lasting legacy, those words which are basically saying, tomorrow, what does he say? Tomorrow will be a better day. Tomorrow will be a good day. And I'm going to tell myself that now every day, because I think it's just something that we need to do. So yeah,
I think hope really gets you through, doesn't it? And then sometimes that hope runs a little bit thin, and kind of your energy levels are down, and it is harder on some days. But if you can just hold on to a little saying that will get you through, it really
makes a big difference. Well, I normally put a little scroller along the bottom here just to sort of say hello, and we've been chatting for half an hour. I've forgotten to pop it in. So you just tell us a little bit about yourself, Alison, and tell us what you do, and I'll just type this here.
So I'm Alison. I'm a counsellor and psychotherapist, and I work with children, young people and adults. But since lockdown, since last year, March, I work online as a counsellor with young people aged 14 years and up. I think working with children younger than that is more difficult online. So what I've done instead, so that I can still work with younger people and with families, because that is my absolute passion, is set up the Self-Belief Project, which helps support parents boost self-belief and confidence in their children. So any age really, from 0 to years and up to 18. And I know resources are low at the moment, so it's always good to have somewhere to go for support.
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to you because I met you because those of you who know me, you all know me through doing hands-on workshops, events, talks. And obviously through lockdown, I've had to pivot my business. I obviously wanted to stay in contact with people. And we went on a course together, didn't we? And on that course, we all had to put down what we did and how we did it. And I just felt that Alison's message was just so powerful. Knowing that I work with teenagers as well, with obviously their beauty confidence, I just thought there was a massive synergy between the two of us, because we work with teenagers and children, but obviously you can't work with teenagers and children without working with parents. Yeah. So we have this springboard thing, don't you, where you sort of jump from one to the other.
Yeah. I think, yeah, definitely. You know, when you're working with family, I think it's working with families, isn't it? You're working with the whole lot, really. Yeah.
I mean, I even go, I kind of, my normal cycle of introduction is through the mom, who then says she wants to book a teenager workshop. Then there's an older sister who's getting married, and I end up getting involved with the wedding. And then at the wedding, I meet the nan, and then the nan says, oh, I really like this lipstick, and then ends up buying a product off me. So you do sort of jump across everywhere, don't you? But that's our initial goal, I suppose you could say. But for me, this online world is all brand new, and I have to say I've absolutely loved it. But you've been talking through your screen to people for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked one-to-one with people, and I have done, you know, all through last year and through this year as well. And the pivot in my role now is that I'm looking at helping more people. So I will be still working one-to-one with people, but also I'll be working with lots and lots of families as well. So that's a big change for me, having worked one-to-one for so long. And now I'll be looking at how I can help more people, you know, maybe doing the courses and the workshops rather than just that one-to-one interaction that I normally have with people.
Whereas that for me is not new, because when I have people come to my workshops, there's normally a group of 12 people and they don't know each other. So what happens, I understand that bit, because basically when people are in the group together and they all start passing compliments and saying, actually, not wearing makeup really suits you, you've got fantastic skin, haven't you got fantastic bone structure? Those compliments start passing around the room. And I actually, once I get that going, I can sometimes stand back and let that carry on for a good half an hour without even saying anything.
Do you let those compliments sink in? With people, I'm sure, do they? Yeah.
Yeah, and because it's not coming from me, and because it's coming from a complete stranger, it's incredibly powerful, and they tend to open up as well. So I think what you're going to do, well, I know you're doing it, will be incredibly powerful, because it's that community, isn't it? But you know, people will, and I think we all need that, especially as we're not being able to do the sort of coffee shop scenarios and what have you. We can all sort of like touch base and make a difference. So I suppose I've got a list of questions here that I just wrote down last night that I'd love to ask you. So I'll fire away, and do apologise if they're a bit weird and if you didn't listen to us before. And if you ask a question, by all means, we are on StreamYard, so you do have to get permission from StreamYard for some of your comments to pop up. But do give us a wave, do give us a like, and this will obviously stay on my page. It's going streamed onto YouTube as well, and Alison will probably put it on her page as well. So it's here really just to sort of share our knowledge and for people to get to know us, really. But the big question is, if you're a parent or a teenager, which, bearing in mind a teenager is from 13 to 19, which is a massive difference between a 13 and a 19-year-old within itself. If they feel that they're struggling with their mindset or their confidence, is it too late to change?
No, I don't think so. I think we talk about brain plasticity, and I often talk to people about, you know, you can take your brain to the gym almost. It's like going to the gym. So you're quite weak in your tummy and you want to tone your tummy up. You've got to start somewhere, and it's really, really hard work. But if you keep going and you keep practicing, you keep doing it, eventually you'll get a bit more of a toned tummy, won't you? And it's the same with the brain. So if you're used to feeling quite anxious or quite low in mood, you know, there are ways that you can change that around, and there are ways that you can use your brain in a different way to help you feel more confident and less anxious.
Because I know they say about brain training, and I've also heard them mention things like, I mean, to be fair, I'm sure my mum won't mind me saying this, but my mum does lots of Sudokus. And is that right? Like, even that is kind of like keeping the brain going, or...
Yeah, definitely. It's just how you use your brain. So, like, I'll give an example. If someone's used to saying things to themselves like, "Oh, I can't do this," you know, "I'm no good at this, no good at this." Whereas if you just simply add the word "yet" on the end, "I'm not good at this yet," it can really change the way you feel about something. It feels possible. It feels hopeful. It feels, you know. Whereas I can't do this. It's kind of that's it then. I give up.
I love that. You could do a poster with I can't do crossed out and the word yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you're probably going to be saying, well, I've been saying that for years, but for some people, it's actually quite inspiring to do that. And I suppose if we think about it, I mean, I always say, like, pre-teens is kind of mold you into your teenage years. So those influences in your life, and then teenage years influence you probably for in your 20s. So yeah, it's never too late to change, is it? And you can't do it. You need to talk to people, don't you? You need to understand, because everyone's completely different. It's like somebody coming to me saying, I need to change the shade of my foundation. It's not covering up, or it's too heavy. Which brand, which product should I use? I need to see you. I need to ask a few more questions. So we can't answer we can't answer that in one word, can we?
No, it really is about exploring what's going on for you. You know, and you might do that with somebody, or you might do that journaling. You might just be writing it down and kind of exploring yourself and figuring yourself out.
Wow. So yeah, that's another little light bulb moment there, is to sort of write the journal, because I suppose sometimes we never see things getting better.
No.
But we see them getting worse.
Yeah.
I
think when you look back, say over the last 6 months, you can see change.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, it's very difficult to see it.
Yeah.
When you're thinking about things in your mind, it can get quite confusing. Yeah. Whereas if you externalize it, that might be talking, it might be singing, it might be writing, it might be drawing, it might be painting, it might be something to express yourself. It becomes a little bit clearer, and you can have those little shifts and little light bulb moments. Whereas if it's all kind of in here and you're internalizing it, it can get quite muddled up, because we have, I don't know, like 50,000 thoughts a day. So,
and I guess the thing is, if you're sitting there, you could be the parent or you could be the teenager, and you're feeling like something's not right, and they ask you, are you okay? And you say yes, but you know in your heart you're not. I think half the problem is you can't express how you feel. Yeah. So I guess by doing those drawings is another way, not only to help yourself, but is another way to communicate to the people that are around you that you're just not happy. Yeah. I'm sure if you drew a picture that was very bright and colourful, it probably portray that you were very happy. But if you were picking colours that were probably deep, slightly moody, then perhaps that might show. So that's a really nice way of sort of saying that you could do things. I suppose we do sometimes do it the way that we dress.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know I'm wearing black.
I've got blue. I try and add a little bit of colour. In fact, I've just took it off, but I normally fall back on my scarves. So my scarves are just a great way of kind of like really good cheats, actually, when you go online with those Zoom and those FaceTime calls, grab a scarf and put it on. It can like really change your mood and what have you. It makes quite a big difference. So it's never too late to change, and express yourself means quite a big difference. So it's looking at from the parents and the teacher's point of view. Some of the words I know when I spoke to you, as I say, a couple of weeks ago, pre your COVID experience, was keeping those connections open and keeping those channels of communication open between parents and teenagers is so important.
Yeah, and I think this it's great to start from a really, really young age. That, you know, I really encourage parents to check in with their children on an emotional level, on a deeper level, because I think we often kind of, you know, talk about what have you done today, what's been going on for you, but we don't really ask how they've felt in the day. So I think it's really important to not only connect on, you know, what you've been doing, but how you've been feeling, because that's really meaningful, I think, for someone to ask you how you've been feeling and what's made you feel like that, because then it can open up that, you know, it's a safe place to talk about those anxieties or those worries, and you can get reassurance from your parents as well. And it's a really confusing world, isn't it? And
actually almost the overwhelm of saying to somebody, are you okay? And they say yes, and then you dig a bit deeper, can actually feel quite intrusive now, because we've become very kind of like we've lost that expressiveness to ourselves, let alone to other people.
And saying, are you okay, is almost direct. It's a directing question as well, isn't it? Are you okay? So you can either say yes or no to that. Whereas if you say, how do you feel, then they can't answer yes or no. They have to say, I feel okay. They might say, I feel sad, or I feel.
Well, from my world, working in cosmetics for years and obviously training all the girls who used to work on the beauty counters, we called that, I don't know whether you've heard of this or whether you even say it in your coaching world, an open question. And it's something that they can't say yes or no to. So the biggest thing out there is obviously if you walked into a shop and they said to you, can I help you? Even if you were gagging to buy something from that shop, I guarantee you'll probably go, no. Whereas if they said something like, your coat's really nice, where did you get it from? It makes you then go, oh, I got it from, I was going to say British Home Stores there. That shows my age. And you know, it's a really nice colour. And then you want to ask that person if they need any help, but you ask a couple of questions first before you actually ask the question that you really want to ask. And it's called, you know, the sandwich method. There's lots of things out there, but the trick is, if you need something from somebody, don't pick up the phone and say, can you do this for me? Because the chances are you'll get a no. But if you ask a few questions first and then sort of almost say it as an afterthought, oh, do you know what, while on the phone, I was just thinking, is there any chance I could borrow blah? The chances are they'll probably go, oh, yeah, because they'll feel that person's interested in them. So,
well, yeah, it's about building trust. As you were talking then, I was thinking that's exactly how you build trust, isn't it? You connect with somebody and you show interest in them.
Yeah, you've got to get them. You've almost got to coach their state of mind, haven't you? You've got to get them into a position of where, you know, you might be up here because you've had a really horrible day and they might be down there because they've had a really low day. So you've got to try and get to the same level, and then you can start to communicate. What happens is sometimes we just come from different angles and then we wonder why that communication just fails.
I just always come from a place of interest. Like, I love working with people, and I just love people exploring their own being in their own way, and I love being in that with them because I'm just so interested in the human mind. And
that's why you're so good. Because, you know, that's what you want. People come off a call to you or a video call to you, and they walk away in a higher spirit and a higher level. Hopefully I do a little bit of that as well, but I just happen to use products to do it. So things here is that we encourage now to have that individuality, to express yourself and to be different. But I worry sometimes whether by saying to teenagers, express yourself, be different, be the person you want to be, I worry then whether then they put that into the rules of society, which kind of like is like school life and respect and stuff like that. Do you ever see any of that at all?
Not really. Like you were talking about it earlier, and I was struggling to connect with it, because I think, you know, saying to somebody to be individual isn't necessarily saying break the rules, which is what I've kind of heard. It's a worry for you that if you stray too far from the norm, that you might be breaking the rules or something. But actually, you can still be individual within, as long as you've got these good values and these good beliefs, that, you know, we can express ourselves as long as we don't harm anyone or ourselves or anything of value. Which is something that really we should be learning from the age of 2, you know, really, isn't it? But we can express ourselves, we can get angry, we can get emotional, we can get sad, as long as we don't hurt anyone else or ourselves or anything of value.
The scenario that I gave to you was that I went to get my mum's shopping.
Oh yeah.
And I went into a shop that was close to where she lived. So it wasn't somewhere where I knew. And basically in front of the shop, right in front of the entrance, was about 15 teenagers. They'd got their school uniforms. They'd been at school. So, I mean, we are talking pre-Christmas here. And there was a big sign on the door, and it said, social distancing must be respected, please wear your masks. They were standing outside the store, but they were within like about a metre of what this sign was. And for me to get into the shop, I would have to push my way through the teenagers, but they were all standing there because it was a bright light and it was somewhere to hang out after school and what have you. So I did my sort of like confidence voice, and I just said, come on guys, can you move out the way so I can get in? And they looked at me as if I was like, and I was like, what do I do now? And I'm sure them as individuals were all absolutely amazing. But it was that conflict that I found very difficult to put myself in. And even though I'm quite a confident person, to sort of say, and eventually it then escalated to the shop owner coming out, asking them to move and what have you. But it's just sometimes maybe just peer pressure gets involved.
Yeah, and I guess, like, you know, those teenagers don't represent all teenagers, because I see so many teenagers that are just lovely and
I know, and so do I,
and so wonderful, and as do you. But you like in any walk of life, you meet some people that, for whatever reason, don't hold the same values and beliefs as you, and perhaps those you know, teenagers, they weren't really thinking about other people at that moment. No,
it's just weird, I'm sure. And a couple of them had got the face masks like hanging down the side, so it was almost as if like they knew they had to wear them. But it was just like I felt like, oh, so that was just a sticky scenario that I was kind of like put in. And I suppose once your teenager is not within you, that peer pressure can sort of make a big difference. So I guess with that, that's all about being interested in what friends they're socializing with.
We talked earlier a little bit about the confidence that you noticed in them, and then maybe we talked about that possibly being arrogance, and that there's a big difference between feeling confidence and being assertive than being aggressive or being you know, arrogant. And actually that arrogance and aggression, that side of it, is probably compensating for a lack of confidence, actually.
Whereas I felt that they were overly confident, and then that made me feel a little bit insecure, I have to say. But maybe if I thought about it differently, that was like, it's more about their confidence, that they were putting up this kind of like facade, then I wouldn't have felt so overwhelmed. So it's not just about them, it's about how you are within yourself. And I guess I was probably quite anxious in myself, and you know, this whole COVID thing is a worry, isn't it?
Putting a lot of anxieties in people, and we're having to cope with a lot at the moment, I think. One of the things that I do with my workshops is obviously put teenagers together that they're wearing makeup,
and some teenagers in that workshop might not wear any makeup at all. And what's quite interesting is that some teenagers are really confident not wearing any makeup, and some teenagers are really confident or have to wear makeup to be confident. And I guess this is based on your your own mindset and perhaps family history as well. Because I guess if they come from a background where the auntie wears makeup, they'll feel confident. And if they come from a background where none of them wear makeup, so sort of heritage and background plays a big part, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think, you know, if you've always had that around you, that makeup's important to wear, or you know, being a certain size is important, then you're going to pick up on a lot of that, whether that be from family or friends. Yeah,
makes quite a big difference. So coming to the end of our little chat, and hopefully what people have got from it is the fact that Alison can really delve deep into your own personal situation. And I would love, obviously, for people to come to my workshops as well, which is kind of makeup. But I think what we've kind of worked out between the two of us chatting is I think we've got a lot to offer to pull something together, like a mini course or something that that would help a lot of people. Wendy says hello, by the way. I keep looking at the comments and keep forgetting to say them. The whole aspect is about self-esteem, anxiety, and this wonderful brand that you've come up with, which is called the Self-Belief Project, which I think just hits the nail on the head.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but yeah, I'm ecstatic that I thought of it because it just fits, doesn't it? And I think all of us need a bit of a self-belief boost at the moment.
Yeah. And that's the trigger, isn't it? If you've got that inner belief, you can do anything. Caroline's put, hello, I have a 14-year-old with bad anxiety. So if Caroline was to contact you, what would be the first things you would do to help them with the journey as with regards to working with you? So give Caroline an example.
Well, I mean, I run the Self-Belief Project, so that's a free group that you can join and be a part of, and I share a lot of information around anxiety and mood and how you can boost self-belief. I also work as a therapist, so on a one-to-one basis. So I'd meet with your daughter for a free 20-minute consultation to see if we felt comfortable working together. A young person's kind of like a psychoeducational 30-minute appointments, which helps them understand anxiety.
You would take the teenager on their own first.
Yeah. I wouldn't work with the parents in a counselling capacity. I support the parents in the Self-Belief Project, but I don't actually work with the parents. I'd work with the young person. Yeah, because it'll be about their beliefs and their kind of how they've come to feel that way. So it'll be unpicking all of that and then kind of restructuring it for them so they understand it a little bit better. And often it's about offering a lot more self-compassion and kindness.
And I guess what you do is you just take that pressure off the parent. But then take the teenager and give them that kind of like someone's caring and thinking about me.
And normalising a lot of it, that a lot of the thoughts that they'll be having are quite normal. And kind of helping them understand what they need to do with those thoughts and feelings and what might be able to help them in particular, because we're all different, aren't we? And we all have different things that bring us joy and different things that help us cope, and it's just figuring out what those things are for that person.
Yeah, definitely. Caroline says thank you, so she'll probably be contacting you. But the biggest thing that I've learned from this is how accessible you are. You've built your business online before COVID was there. Yeah. You've got many hats that you wear, haven't you? Because you've got a couple of professional hats, which obviously means that you have got this 360-degree overview that you can put on people, whereas most coaches, counsellors just wear one hat, whereas you come from many avenues, don't you?
Yeah, because I work with adults and teenagers online in a counselling capacity, but I also work online. I want to help parents and I want to help them and their families kind of boost self-belief, because there are some things that you can do within your family, change communication, all those sorts of things to help change the feel of the home, to help
Makes
it
difference.
calmer.
And you've only just started this Facebook group, but it's grown massively, hasn't it?
Yeah, it went from, I think I started in November and I had about 100 members, and then all of a sudden it's now up to 660. So yeah, it's great.
So that just gives you an idea how popular you are, but also how people are getting something out of this. And I when I started working with you, which was about October time, was it? I saw straight away that you got something quite magical to offer, and I was like, I need to work with that person. It's like, I know she has a lot to offer my clients, and hopefully we can do things vice versa.
Yeah, I'd love to.
So basically, I chat to parents, and I know for certain I'm just about to start my own group, which is going to be a private group, which is going to be about building the journey of Esther Marie. So very different to what you do. Mine's going to be more about what do you want to know, and also about beauty mindset, and also behind the scenes of Esther Marie, which is like, I'm creating some new products. And I think it's really important for me, before I put a product to market, it's like, tell me, is this right or this wrong? How much would you pay for it? Would you like it bigger? Would you like it smaller? So very different to what you do, but it's all about feedback and communication, isn't it?
Yeah. And I love the idea that you're working with beauty mindset. Like I absolutely love that, because, as long as we have a healthy mindset of, who we are as a person, then it'll shine outwards. And I've got that. I've got something behind me from Roald Dahl. It says, if you have good thoughts, it will shine out of your face like sunbeams, and you will always look lovely.
Oh, I want that. I really struggled. And I mean, like, I know for certain for a long time now, yes, I call myself Esther Marie makeup artist, but I'm much more than that. And lots of people have said, you're like a coach, because I come and see you and I walk out feeling better. And we've probably done a very little about the cosmetics, but it's made them feel better as a person. I'm desperately trying to rebrand. I'm desperately trying to remove the makeup artist off my Esther Marie page, but I don't think Facebook are going to let me do it. But yeah, it does make a massive difference. So for those people, for me, who want to make sure that they follow my journey, I've got a link. I'm sure you have as well, Alison, so you must share it with us. My link is, if you go to my website, esthermarie.co.uk, the link's basically in my bio thing, /VIP, then basically you join my little email list, and I'm going to start communicating on that about my changes and how I can help and give some free help out there. And for people like Caroline, who obviously will want to contact you, or anyone else, what's the first thing that you would say to do? Because if someone's needing you right now, they're probably feeling like really difficult to probably even reach out, especially if it's dealing for their teenager.
Yeah, well, I've got a website. It's www.alisoncounselling.co.uk, and that's got everything on there. It's even got the link to the Self-Belief Project. But if you just type in Self-Belief Project in Facebook, then that'll come up.
Okay. Yeah, so then they click on that. There's probably a couple of questions. Then they can get into the group. Yeah. They can access you that way, and then take it from there. Yeah. So our message to you, whether it's outer, which obviously is me with makeup and confidence, or inner, which is Alison, you're not alone. And please reach out to us. We'd love to help you. So we're gonna say goodbye. Alison and I are gonna stay on here. So you stay on there, Alison, unless you've got anything else to say.
No, thanks for watching, everyone, and chat to you soon.
We'll say goodbye, and then we'll carry on chatting, but I'll just take it offline now. Bye.